I'm Jillian Hanesworth, and this is my Poetic Story. I'm a poet for the people. I could brag about myself, most people do, but I go deeper. I don't care too much about what you have, I want to know what you believe in. So I am born and raised in Buffalo, New York. If you don't know about Buffalo, which you probably don't, Buffalo is a mid-sized city. It's called the Queen City. Also goes by the City of Good Neighbors. That one can be a little debatable sometimes, but I would say that for any city, so no shade to Buffalo. But I was raised on the east side. The east side of Buffalo growing up was almost all Black American. It is historically neglected. It hasn't experienced like collective economic growth in over 35 years. I'm 33, so in my lifetime, I've never seen my community grow economically together. But I still love the East Side. It informed everything I know about the world. My church was on the East Side. My friends lived on the East Side. My school was on the East Side. Shout out to Performing Arts High School. Everything I knew was on the East Side. It was Black. It was loud. It was spades. It was music. It was art. I then went to college. I went to college in this little town called Fredonia, New York. If you never heard of Buffalo, you definitely never heard of Fredonia. Fredonia is about 45 minutes south, far enough for my parents to not pop up uninvited and unannounced, but close enough for me to get my parents if I needed them. And Fredonia was an amazing experience, but it was my first time being surrounded by white people. Like, I had been told my whole life that I was a minority, and I never felt like one until college, going to Fredonia. It's predominantly white, predominantly women, and I had a good time. Probably too much fun sometimes. I hopped majors a lot, so I got into college for musical theater and singing. I practiced singing in high school, so I thought I was gonna be a singer. And then I decided, you know what? I wanna be an attorney. So I'm gonna take a political science major, and I'm going to study international law. I'm going to study international politics. I'm going to be a civil rights attorney. I'm going to be that girl. I'm going to be out here changing the hood, right? Wrong. Very wrong. I struggled so bad in college. Academically, I did not do good. Now, socially, we thrived socially. But yeah, academically, I struggled. I was a junior when I was academically dismissed. I got kicked out for my grades being so bad, and I had to appeal to get back in. Thankfully, I was let back in, and I was placed with an advisor named Mr. Herkin, Dr. Herkin, to put some respect on his name. And Dr. Herkin was amazing. We had to meet once a month. But every time we met, we talked about me. We never really talked about my grades or the pressures of trying to get my grades up. And I was still struggling. I was taking a geology class. I was on my third science. I failed intro to biology, which is just like, I'm a human. Like, how am I failing? But I did. And then I took it again. I passed. I needed to take another science. So I took geology, and my professor realized that I knew what I was talking about during class, but that knowledge never translated onto the tests. So one day she called me to her office. She verbally asked me the questions to our test that I had just failed, and I gave her all correct answers. That was the beginning of the journey of me finding out that I'm dyslexic. So throughout my entire educational career, I had no idea. And I lost my confidence. As a writer, as a creative, I started to question myself more than ever, because now all the mistakes that I was making that I hadn't noticed before were jumping off the paper. So I didn't write. I didn't write poetry. I didn't write stories. I didn't write songs. I just did my schoolwork. I worked multiple jobs because I lost my financial aid. But I learned how to advocate for myself. I was activated. Like activists, there's a moment where you are activated, and that happened for me in college after Trayvon Martin was killed. So I really honed in on activism, on advocacy, on organizing. I started making trouble, and I loved it. The first troublemaker moment that I experienced in college was I was the president of the Black Student Union, of course. And we were getting our budget cut by 35%. 35% of our budget was getting cut. And the reasoning was that our activities were for the Black students who were a minority on campus. Even though they weren't just for us, we were just the only ones who came. So after learning about the budget cut, the president of every club has to approve the final budget. I would not approve the budget. I held this budget in a chokehold for weeks. And because I was holding up the student budget, I held up the college budget, which held up the SUNY budget, which is like the New York State college system, which held up the state budget. So I had like presidents of colleges contacting me, a student, like, please just approve it. Finally, that budget cut, which was $12,000, was down to $5,000, which I was like, okay, it's still a little hit, but I'll take that over 12. That was a solo mission. And from that point on, I'm like, if I can hold up the entire New York State budget and get some money back, I can go back to my community and change things. I finally graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice with a concentration in law. Dr. Herkin walked up to me at my graduation and was like, see, you did it. Because I had tried to drop out multiple times. He would rip up my withdrawal forms to not let me drop out. He wanted success for me. So after graduating, I came back home, back to the east side of Buffalo, back to my roots, and I started looking for jobs. Most of my jobs were in social work, which I loved, but I never felt like I was fully utilizing everything that I had to give. I didn't even know what I had to give. I just knew that there were parts of me that weren't being engaged that I really needed to engage with. One day I was sitting on my mom's couch and I was making a list of all the jobs I had applied to, and this breaking news came across the TV, and the breaking news alert was that Darren Wilson, who was the officer who murdered Mike Brown, was not going to be indicted.
This was the moment when it sank in for Michael Brown's mother. The grand jury siding with her son's killer. And this was the emotional reaction from her husband, words today their lawyers tried to take back.
Shut it down!
Tonight they're calling on the federal government to come in and deliver them justice.
This process is broken. The process should be indicted.
They tell us she's been crying for months.
When I close my eyes and think about him, I smile. I wake up, I'm sad.
But even at this church where the family spoke out today, Officer Darren Wilson's supporters were here and fighting with relatives until Michael Brown Sr. ran to calm them down.
I don't want to hear that.
At 7:53 Monday night, the prosecutor called the family just after taking this photo, delivering the decision.
No probable cause exists.
At 8:25, McCullough finally said the words
And I
to the
wrote
world.
this poem called Little Black Boy. And I didn't write it intentionally. It just kind of came out of me. It came out of nowhere. I recorded it on my phone, and it was horrible quality. I put it on Facebook, and it got a bunch of shares, but it was like my mom just sharing it. It was all my mom sharing this poem. She has always thought I was like the best thing since sliced bread. So she was telling the world that I wrote this poem. I got a call from the University at Buffalo's Educational Opportunity Center. We call it the EOC. And they invited me to come and perform that poem at their Black History Month program on February 1st of 2017. I agreed, And then they were like, can you do a few poems? And I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. But I only had one, so I started writing. That's how I became a poet. Honestly, I truly stumbled into it. But for the first time, I felt like that one part of me that I was ignoring while I was a social worker and while I was helping my community in other ways, I was finally exercising that muscle. And now I know that writing is like inherent to who I am. And if I don't write, like I don't sleep. So once I was able to accept that that is truly just a part of me and no learning disability or different ability, no grade in college, no degree can stop me from being a writer, I had to submit to it. And I became a poet. So one of the things that I really like to advocate for now is for our poets to get paid, for myself to get paid. I think really often people think about art as like in addition to something. It's like the cherry on top of the ice cream. Like you don't just want the cherry, you want the ice cream sundae, but you want the cherry on it, right? That's not what it is. It's breath, it's air, it's water. It's something that historically no human being has been able to completely separate ourselves from. We take in art every single day in some kind of capacity, and the artists who create the art that we take in deserve for their work to be acknowledged. They deserve to get paid. A lot of people thank us and they give us, opportunities. They give us sometimes trophies or certificates, and those are all lovely. But my landlord, if I tried to pay my rent in a certificate, he would be like, stop playing with me. So yeah, we need money. Artists deserve to be paid. And some people would think of me as a leader in my community. I don't. I think of myself just as somebody who's in my community who's just using what I have to benefit my community. The goal is never to be in charge. It's never to be at the front of the line. It's just to make sure the line is moving forward. Like, who wants to stand in a line forever, right? My goal is never to be at the front. It's just to make sure that we have progress. In 2018, I stopped working as a social worker. 2020, actually. In 2020, I stopped working as a social worker after George Floyd was murdered.
We are seeing the moments leading up to the arrest of George Floyd. Newly released videos from the body cameras worn by two former Minneapolis officers are shedding new light into the death that set off protests around the world. Marcus Moore has the latest, and we do warn you, the new images are disturbing.
Tonight, a judge ordering that release of two body camera videos from George Floyd's arrest and death.
Let me see your other hand. Please, both hands. Do nothing.
Just seconds after approaching the vehicle, rookie officer Thomas Lane pulls his gun and points it at a noticeably startled and scared Floyd.
Please don't shoot me. Please, man. I'm not going to shoot you. Step out and face away. I'm looking you eye to eye, man. Please don't shoot me, man. I'm not shooting you, man. Please, man. I just lost my mom, man.
The other body camera shows Officer Alexander King explaining they were called to the Minneapolis convenience store over allegations Floyd used a fake $20 bill.
We're here because it sounds like you gave a fake bill to the individuals in there.
Yeah.
There is a brief struggle as the officers push the distraught Floyd into the back of a police vehicle. Seconds later, Floyd is pulled out the other side. That's when Officer Derek Chauvin would put his knee on Floyd's neck. Tonight, Chauvin faces charges including second-degree murder and manslaughter. The three other officers at the scene each face aiding and abetting charges.
During COVID, and I became a full-time community organizer. I worked at an organization called Open Buffalo, and my job was to teach people how to be organizers, teach people how to identify issues in our community and build campaigns around changing those issues. And I did that before and after I even worked at Open Buffalo. It's something that I will always continue to do. But on May 14th of 2022, that became like life or death for a lot of people in my community. That is a day that we experienced a mass shooting at a grocery store. on the east side of Buffalo. The only grocery store in a densely populated black community.
The First Lady will travel to Buffalo on Tuesday to grieve with the community after yesterday's mass shooting inside a supermarket there that ended with 10 people dead and 3 others injured. This as investigators are learning more about the alleged gunman's hate-filled motives. Tonight, police are going through 18-year-old Peyton Gendron's online posts and his past as we learn more about the lives he's accused of taking. Investigators say Gendron was doing some reconnaissance the day before the attack with the intent of killing as many black people as possible. It turns out he was investigated a year earlier after making threats involving his high school. Authorities are still trying to confirm the authenticity of a racist 180-page document purportedly written by Gendron that detailed his plans for the attack. Derek Waller from our sister station, WABC, joins us live from Buffalo with a closer look at those who died and the horrified community they leave behind. Derek.
Well, tonight, Buffalo police have now released the names of all 13 shooting victims, including the 10 people who lost their lives here at this supermarket on Saturday. Their ages range from 32 to 86 years old, and they include the store's security guard, a retired police officer gunned down at the front door. The tributes are growing outside the supermarket where 10 people were killed on Saturday. Among the victims, retired Buffalo police officer Aaron Salter Jr., working as a security guard at the store. He reportedly fired multiple shots, hitting the suspect, but that did not stop him because he was wearing body armor. The gunman fatally shooting the guard moments later. Also killed 32-year-old Roberta Drury and Hayward Patterson, a man in his late 60s, shot in the parking lot.
He didn't deserve that. Our community didn't deserve that. No one deserves that.
And 86-year-old Ruth Whitfield. Her son Garnell tells ABC News his mother stopped by the market on her way home from visiting her husband in a nursing home.
Amen. Thou in God.
Amen.
A prayer vigil outside the store turned protest, with neighbors demanding change.
What's the problem? What is the underlying root of hate? Is it fear? Is it the nonsense that they're spewing out? It's something.
As the investigation continues, people who were in the store, like employee Fragrance Harris Stanfield, are trying to process the trauma.
I thought I was going to die right there on the floor. I got up, somehow lost my shoes, my keys, everything flew off of me, and I just kept running and running.
Stanfield told me her 20-year-old daughter, who also works at Tops, became separated in the chaos.
She crouched down, she sat hiding at register 6 the entire time. She didn't come out until the police came. She was in
the community is the most densely populated black community outside of New York City in the state of New York. And that is when my poetry, like my gift, my beautiful thing that I love, that made me smile, became a tool that I had to use to help my community in a way that I never expected. After May 14th, a lot of people in our community pivoted to just feeding each other. The grocery store closed down, and that area became a food desert. But I always like to say that our community, the east side of Buffalo, it has experienced food apartheid for a long time. It was intentional. It was designed that way. And we really had to learn to take care of each other, which I loved being able to do. I just wanted to be outside and make plates and give people food and drop groceries off to strangers. And I don't think people in my community slept for maybe a month. I didn't get a good night's sleep for a long time, but I felt like I was helping. I didn't know that there were going to be other opportunities for me to rise to the occasion until I got a phone call from the grocery store where the shooting took place. They asked me if I would write a poem that would act as the memorial once the grocery store reopened. And I had a hard time with that. I asked them to call back, and I called my mom. And I was crying. I was hysterical. I feel bad for my mom now because that was just so much drama. And she probably thought the world was ending the way I called her. But I told her, like, this is not fair. Like, I finally found my way back to poetry. And I'm finally walking in it, and I'm dedicated to it. I've submitted to this gift, to this art, and now I'm being asked to use it for the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. Like, my beautiful thing is now going to be used to help my city heal from the ugliest thing that has happened here. And I explained this to my mom. I said it's not fair over and over and over, and she just listened. When I stopped, my mom told me, and this advice will always stick with me. She said, Jill, we all hope for a time where we can do something that impacts the world around us. Whether it's our community, our family, we want to help, we want to change. You now have that opportunity. You don't get to decide what it looks like. You only get to decide when it presents itself, are you going to rise to the occasion, or are you going to get out of the way? Because the work, the healing, it does not stop or start with you. So write the poem or let them find somebody else. Because if this is what the family in the store wants, and the community wants, then that's what they deserve to have. So I was just like, geez. I thought she was gonna be like, oh, don't cry, it's okay. But no, she shook me back into reality. She told me to do it or move out of the way. And I decided to do it. And that really took my creative career in a new direction and to new places that I never thought I would be able to go. I ended up leaving the workforce in general and just focusing on my art, focusing on my story, focusing on my community story, making sure that we were the holders of our own narrative, especially after something like that happened. Mass casualty events, things like that, those are prime time for politicians to come in and shake hands and kiss babies and bolster their own platforms. But it was really important to our community that we were the ones who told our story, that we were the ones who decided what happens next for us. So to be able to do that using poetry was unexpected. It's something that I'm honestly still processing, I think. But I'm really grateful that my mom gave me the challenge to either do it or move out of the way. And I hear that advice all the time now. There are times where I do move out of the way. And that is with the humility of knowing that there are other people who can do certain jobs and tell certain stories in a way that I can't. So shout out to my mom for really helping me understand why it's important to rise to the occasion or to let somebody else rise. Since then, I have won an Emmy Award for a video I made with the NFL Network. And it's really just telling the story of Buffalo in 2022. Because we went through it for that year. Like, if I were to just list off the things that we experienced as a community, you probably wouldn't believe me. I remember getting a call from the producer at the NFL Network, and he was like, we want you to write this poem, and it needs to be about what happened at Tops. And we also want to talk about Damar Hamlin's heart stopping on the field, and Dawson Knox, who is a tight end on the Buffalo Bills, who lost his brother that year, and that snowstorm where almost 50 people passed away, and that firefighter who passed away in a house fire. But we need it to be about football, and it needs to be really good. And I was like, okay, let's see what happens.
Quiet, please. And go for it.
We are a Rust Belt city of overcomers.
Overcomers.
Survivors, believers, and fighters healed by our love and support for one another. And even when we find ourselves in the center of pains brought on by life and malice, we still sit down on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays and we breathe. cheer so loudly that you can feel the rumbles beneath our feet. The where else would you rather be? We are Buffalo, and football is our commonplace.
Football is our commonplace.
Commonplace.
It's a moment to collectively exhale because sometimes we just need a break. A break from hard work, from heavy snow, and from hate, because we know hate. It found its way into our home on the 14th of May. When the East Side experienced a massive wounding motivated solely by race, targeting a community already on the brink of starvation, it could have forced us to break. But we chose love anyway.
Father, we live now.
We chose this way for faith. So once the lifetime we even there snow. We didn't point to funerals, faith as the present both happiness and ability are low, we still find ways to go. Connected to each other by our love for the same, a football city that understands that life is way more important than a game, and that how you play the game is more important than a win. Populated by people who can't lose, with trouble just as good as the food, and legends who never leave, because
where else would they rather be?
Where else would you rather be?
And right here, right now!
Because this kind of passion is...
A few parts are sped up, so check out the full version of the poem, Still Here, by Jillian Hanesworth on NFL Network.
Because this is our turf and we are still here.
We still here.
We still here.
Still here.
And even when we fail, we simply dust each other off. Because individually we may stumble.
Individually
we stumble, but together,
we never fall.
So to the world designed to steal our joy and take our pride away, with all the courage inside our hearts, we say,
Hey, let's go Buffalo! Let's go Buffalo! Hey,
let's go Buffalo!
An acquaintance pitched an idea to the NFL.
Come up with a poem that's kind of like a love letter to Buffalo.
The rest is well-documented history.
So I started writing, a friend of mine, Augustus Clark, he worked for the NFL Network at the time. He was a producer for the video. So we talked a few times, and he came home to Buffalo from California, and we sat on this park bench, and I was like, I have an idea. I'll read it to you and tell me what you think. And I read this poem that's now titled Still Here, and he was like, don't touch it. That's it. Like, don't make any changes. Originally, we were going to see if one of the players could say it. But after the rest of the team heard it, they were like, we don't know any football player who can recite this piece the way a poet can. So I became one of the first poets to actually be the face and the voice of a sports feature at the NFL Network. So yeah, I won an Emmy for that, which was totally unexpected. I remember going to the ceremony. I didn't have a speech. I was just happy to be invited. I was like, this is going to be fun. There's an after party. I didn't pay to be here. I already won. And I remember our category came up, and I was sitting next to another lady who was also nominated in the same category as me. We were two of very few Black nominees that year, and we were holding hands, and they said, like, the Emmy goes to NFL 360, Still Here. And I just looked at Gus, and he's like, let's go. He just got hype. He went to 100, and he's like, come on, Jill. And we're in the back, so we have to make our way to the stage. And I just kept saying, oh my God, oh my God. And I would just look at him and say, don't let me fall, because I had on heels. I never stopped recording, so you just see my feet walking down this carpet, and then you hear my entire acceptance speech that I just made up on a whim. And it was one of the most exciting nights of my life. I really came home back to the east side of Buffalo with an Emmy. And again, that's something that I never was bold enough to even dream for myself. So I definitely hope that artists look at that, and instead of just being like, look what you did, they think, oh, okay, so that's something that's within reach for me. I take the Emmy to high schools, to youth events, to plays. When I meet students who want to be in the entertainment industry, I let them hold it. I let them touch it. Sometimes they want to say acceptance speeches, so I record and I applaud, and I smile because it's real to them. It's tangible. They've already held one. They've already touched one. They've already spoke that into their own lives. And I never had that opportunity, so I jump on any opportunity to show the youth in my community what we can actually accomplish. Because if you can make it in Buffalo, you can make it anywhere. And if you're from the city and you're watching this, come try to do it in Buffalo. I promise you, it's not the same. If you can make it here, you're good anywhere. The world really should value art. The world should value artists. We're in a time where everybody is turning to artificial intelligence to create things for us, from photo edits all the way to songs to voices. We're making technology real. We're giving technology the chance to tell our stories. And when you give other people the chance to tell your story, they're not going to get it right. So the world needs to value art and artists, because we have the ability to take the most ugly and painful truths and make them digestible. We have the ability to speak truth in the midst of chaos, to remind people what's important, to connect to people. When people hear art, it's like subconsciously they let their guard down. They're opening themselves up in ways that they might not on Twitter or social media or during debates or in the workplace. Art is really a window into possibilities. And I was recently told that we need to start focusing on possibilities over opportunities. Opportunities are boring. Possibilities are endless. And that is why art is important. Okay. Lastly, we're going to do some this or that questions, which I love. Okay, first, we have coffee or tea. Coffee. Easy. Give me the caffeine. Pump it directly into my veins, honestly. I want the coffee. And I want it multiple times throughout the day. I'm at the point in my life, I don't know if it's something about like hitting 30, I needed more coffee. Like, I just needed coffee. Summer or fall? Fall over summer. And I'm saying that being in Buffalo, where it's cold for like 4 months straight and gray, the summer is beautiful. No shade to summer. We love you, summer. But fall is so pretty to me. I like how it looks outside. I like how the weather feels. I'm a hoodie girl, so I can wear a hoodie. My birthday is in the fall. Like, it's just important. I don't know. We love the fall. Erykah Badu or Jill Scott? That's a hard one. That's unfair. This is an injustice. Jill Scott. My name's Jillian. I'm gonna go with Jill Scott. I'm gonna take a long walk around the park after dark with my girl Jill. A morning person or a night owl? Night owl, easily. I don't know. My mom, she wakes up in the morning smiling, singing. She's like a bird. She just wakes up and she's just happy to be here. And I don't want to be talked to. I want to be left alone. At night, I'm more productive. Funny things are funnier at night for me. Happy things are happier. Like, if I could just exist at night, 1000% I would. TikTok or Instagram? I don't know. I'll say, okay, I would say Instagram. If you asked me this like a few months ago, I definitely would have said Instagram. I have more followers on Instagram. I really liked when Instagram was like just pictures and really short videos. And now that you can like post 20 photos in one post and a 20-minute video, now I'd rather just go on TikTok. But I don't know. Instagram. I want to work with Instagram one day, so I'm going to go Instagram. Friday night or Sunday morning? I'm going to say Friday night, because it's still like you're still looking forward to the weekend. Sunday morning, all you're thinking about is Monday morning. Like Sunday, you know Monday's coming. That life is about to get real again, and that the fun is over. So Friday nights are fun. And when you wake up the next day, you still don't have to do anything. But when you wake up the next day after Sunday morning, you gotta go to work. I don't even have a job, but still, I don't like this. I'll choose Friday night. Lastly, audiobooks or hardcovers. I am such a book girl. I love books. Sometimes before my birthday or before a holiday, I'll send my dad a list of books and I'll say, can you just give me these for my birthday? Or can you get me these for Christmas? Hardcovers all day, every day. I want to hold my book. I want to immerse myself in it. I want to put my phone down, put my laptop, my iPad down in another room, and I want to read my books. So hardcovers, I take care of my books. Like, I don't expose them to too much sunlight. You know, we keep it cute. We keep them dusted off. I rotate them constantly. Yeah, I don't know why I go so hard for my books, but I really do love them. I also run a program called Buffalo Books. Books are so important to me that I want them to be important to other people, right? But even if they're not, literacy is. You can't escape that. You got to know how to read, right? And it's hard to get interested in reading when you don't see yourself in the characters in the book. So during COVID, I started this program where I would build little library boxes and put them around the East Side. And I curated lists of books that have Black characters, are written by Black and brown artists, are in other languages, are about acceptance, about identity, and put them in those library boxes. I also purchase books from local authors. So we have our own little distribution stream. So right now I have close to 30 library boxes around the East Side. They're either in front of people's houses, on street corners, inside barbershops, hair salons. And I have given away over 2,000 books, brand new and gently used, very gently. So yes, I am a book girl. It's hardcover books all day for me. So that was my poetic story. Shout out to Poetic Stories. Thank you for this beautiful plaque. I am so happy to be a part of this first season, and I can't wait for you to learn more about Buffalo. I'm a poet for the people. I could brag about myself, most people do, but I go deeper. I don't care too much about what you have, I want to know what you believe in. Like, what would you do for freedom? Are you interested in reading? Do you care about who's leading? Have you ever just felt hopeless? You ever watched your leader sell your people out in the open? Bury promises in potholes just to let the gap keep growing. Bury babies prematurely, nothing changes. We keep hoping, but don't cry out in the open. And don't get yourself indicted. Just stay focused on what's right and try to do a little good, even if they use the bricks to build a highway through your hood. Even if the pain inflicted often goes misunderstood or ignored, I still see it. And my life made me believe it. So the goal is to eradicate the issue, not just treat it. Use me as an example. Some of us managed to find a way. Some of us started from nothing and built brands on our father's names. I'm from a city whose last mayor didn't run a campaign. He handed out stamps for ballots, didn't even have to know his name, using ignorance to usher in 4 more years of the same. I'm from a place where for over 30 years, the come up never came. I got an Emmy and some accolades, but I still agitate. Because I care about the ones convinced they can't participate, the ones so haunted by the night that they can't see the light of day. You see, I chose to be the moon so I can help them navigate. And I'm here to teach you policy, how to question everything. Like, how come local governments can find more money for themselves and more money for police while people have nothing to eat and sometimes have nowhere to sleep? And if you can't sleep, you can't dream. Tactics of white supremacy. Ask them to show you the money trees and I'll tell you their priorities. I'm here to question what normal even means, because that ain't normal. Don't let them glamorize your resilience while keeping you stuck in survival. Remember, you are beautiful simply because you exist, not because you can make $1 out of 25 cents. I'm just a poet for the people. My only weapons are my words. Keen enough to find hidden checkmates all over a checkerboard. With the flow of a rapper and a vision bringing light today, I'm speaking life, seeing sights, and showing my people a better way. I met my younger self for coffee. She removed her shoes and didn't ask for anything because she got coffee at the house. She looked at me amazed by how I carry myself, how I love my hair and show my teeth when I smile. The marks on my bottom lip signifying beauty, unlike hers, which represents blemishes needed to be hidden from the world. My younger self knows a little too much about hiding. Always scolded to sit up straight and break the habit of trying to slouch herself small, she is in awe of how big I am, of the boom in my voice and the command in my eyes, quietly inquiring about the journey she has yet to realize she's on too, unaware that the complicated forest she's navigating are the roots that feed the foundation on which I am built upon. Have you ever thought about what you tell your younger self? The little you who doesn't know how big, beautiful, and painfully exciting the world really is. The little you who isn't forced to live with your mistakes and regrets just yet. The one who can't wait to be grown and on their own. Because I met my younger self for coffee, and it was only after she ordered water with lemon, because that's always free, that I told her that she'd meet freedom one day. I want so bad to tell her that she'll laugh in the face of rejection because acceptance is brutally overrated, that the feeling of being overwhelmed that she's over-acquainted with is the same feeling she'll feel when putting pen to paper, but that's too much to say, so I told her to stay the course, to give herself permission to desire more, to like what she likes, even if it's not the things pleasing to outside eyes. I told her to be okay with changing her mind. That's why pencils come with erasers. I told her to order what she wants because it's okay to want, to find God for herself and in herself. I apologize for taking so long to see her and promise to visit again, even if we just sit together for a while, because she's worth the time. And in time, she'll bloom into a person she never expected but is blessed to be. I told her amazing things will happen. I told her to wait and see. This is immune. I think I'm immune to earth's sorrows. Because when you're trying to be the moon, you're not concerned about tomorrow. You're not praying that you feel the sun's rays on your face. First place winners will no longer be the hottest. They'll be the most modest, ones whose light draws no applause, a heat that causes for no pause. Illuminate your every whim, but I could never ever burn you. Not even if I yearn to, I just don't have it in me. I have learned to tread water so not to drown in others' tears. I have learned to hide myself so not to show off all my fears or lack thereof. Treating trauma just like drama, and all drama turns me off, so off I stay in the distance, mimicking acts of those around me. If they cry, I can cry too, but not because I feel like crying. Identifying with the act more than I recognize the why. Manifesting the emotions that don't and won't exist inside. My head's been doing it for so long that my heart, it got in line and played its role. Head to lead and heart to follow or to borrow. I think I'm immune to earth's sorrows. This is That Won't Change. Black man, you need some space. You got a whole lot to prove. And as your counterpart, I promise I'ma make them make some room. I see your brain, I see your power. You can bet they see it too. They try to blind you with hate so you can't see the great in you, but I still see it. They rob you of your magic because they know they will never be it. They mine you like gold and they're mad they can never keep it. Snatch the air right out your soul. But I am here to help you breathe it, because if you need it, then I need it. That won't change. You go to war, I go to war. This has never been a game. We built this country on our back, so that means it's ours to claim, and we want it all. Don't let them take your crown, black man. You better stand tall. You're equipped with superpowers, man. They'll never make you fall. And if they try, just know that I am here to dust you off, and know that will never change. This is The Revolution Will Rhyme. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be streamed live on Facebook, Twitter, or IGTV. You will not be able to start it over if you missed a part, and you won't need to tap it twice to see its heart. The revolution will not be brought to you by Nike, the NFL, or Jay-Z. We will watch it succeed in HD without taking a knee. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live. The revolution will thrive, and the revolution will rhyme. The revolution will be led by black women who are just tired enough to do it ourselves. It will be rhythmic enough to follow the beat using drums and tambourines, focusing on the 2 and the 4 beats like a secret language that comes naturally. It will get louder when it's calling for the people's attention and quieter when it needs the people to listen. People listen. The revolution will be direct and unwavering without concern of being looked at as angry. It will be as big and natural as a Black Panther's afro without worrying about opportunity. It will be as interwoven as locks, but there will be nothing dreadful about it. And when light shines on the revolution, it will create a halo around it. The revolution will rhyme. It will be syncopated. It will harmonize. It will be call and repeat. The revolution will rhyme. The revolution will leave no man behind. It will not be developed just to be displaced. Its purpose will not be extracted and repurposed or refocused, and the burden of education and comfort will not be placed on the oppressed while tolerance is gifted to the oppressors. You will not be able to binge watch the revolution. rewinding the comfortable triumphs and fast forwarding through the hurt. You will not be able to DVR the revolution or avoid spoiler alerts or save it for a day that you choose to see its worth. You will not be able to mute the revolution, for it will be loud, and you will not be able to shame the revolution, for it will be proud. The revolution will rhyme. It will hold your attention and retain your momentum. It will float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. It will hit even harder than Muhammad Ali. It will stand on the shoulders of those who died on their knees, screaming, "You can take me from my freedom, but you can't take my freedom from me." The revolution will hold this city and this state and this country accountable, forcing them to keep their promises. Promises that guarantee life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It will be a sight to behold. It will be so cinematic that Ava DuVernay will create a documentary about it, a complete overhaul, not just a quick fix. The revolution will rhyme. It may not always be politically correct, and it will not be required to forgive and forget. The revolution will remember all those who crosses its path with a message fierce enough to make the opposition fear its wrath. It will march through the valley of the shadow of death without regret of its path, and it is coming for what it is owed and refuses to settle for half. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live. The revolution will thrive, and the revolution will rhyme. And this last piece, thank y'all. This last piece is called Who's the Boss?
It's about us, y'all.
You thought you made the sunrise. You thought you were the one. I had to bring you down a size, so I became the sun. Beamed on you heavy, had you sweating like a loaded gun. Reminder, I don't get told what to do by anyone. I don't need a savior. I've never been a damsel in distress. I am the dragon. I breathe fire, leaving ashes left. I'm not a princess in a tower waiting past in time. I am the monster you must slay before you take what's mine. I walk with pride because I have powers I have yet to learn. Not thought of as the head, but I can influence the head to turn. Shielded with discernment that allows me to connect the dots, and too humble to broadcast that I am she who calls the shots. I listen with my soul, so I hear words that have not been spoken. With vision so clear, I see through doors that have not been opened or open yet. I walk by faith, believing what I cannot see. With melanin of magic, life wreaks havoc, yet my soul is free. I push the culture forward, raising generations like my child. In candy cocoa butters, what you think of when you see me smile. I carry the political weight. Never too much on my plate. Can't starve on mediocrity. Too busy getting full on great and greatness. That seeps out my pores. I always win, no need for scores. Methodic and intentional. If you need help, just ask the girls. See, ladies, we more than run the world. We're the axis on which it turns. We're the moon that makes the waters rise. We're the sun that causes land to burn. We hold down every fort, even the ones we did not build. We reach deep down inside ourselves, finding love so pure and real, a love that makes all sorrows heal and replaces them with triumph. And we conquer every jungle with more reverence than a lion. See, each great man in history had a woman right beside him, orchestrating social change, no need to get behind him. And if she did, her back was to his, so nobody would slide him, and we never miss a beat. Don't need the blueprints when you write them. We speak up for everyone, even those who won't speak up for us, and we'll fight, throwing left and right until they've had enough. We can't be broken. Some don't get that, so they keep on trying us. Not realizing every blow just makes us much more tough. We edify each other like only women can, and we're quick to get to work. We're not afraid of dirty hands. We are everything, and no, we don't always see, but a lion doesn't need a mirror to just know how to be. It is ingrained in us, the missing link God took time to create, and we'll never face a challenge that we can't annihilate. See, in society, we may be the ones they like to cross, but we'll handle that like everything else. So tell me, who's the boss?